All right, guys, welcome back to my command line video series. For this one, this is my seventh video, right? So in this one, we're going to be talking about bash scripting. I'm honestly going to make this video maybe short because bash scripting actually requires a lot of in-depth knowledge, but the whole point of the scripting of it is that you can automate stuff that you put here on the command line. And a lot of people normally do a lot of command-based things every day that are repetitive. For example, me, I like changing my MAC address, right? And the reason I like changing my MAC address is because I like to stay anonymous when I'm online. And if you don't know the MAC address, so I'll give you an example, right? So ifconfig. So as you can see here, right? This here where it says ether is your MAC address. And that is like the ID of your device. So every day, what I do is that I like changing it, and this is how you would change it, right? ifconfig, and then obviously the device that's connected to the internet is etho0, and then I would put down and then enter, right? And actually, I did this on this virtual machine, and I ended up changing it, but I ended up messing up the internet. But I'm gonna do it anyway. But I just want to give you an example, and then after that, Mac changer R and then the device, right? The driver that's connected to the internet. So ETH0, and then I would bring the device up again, right? Config ETH0 up, right? So I do that every day, and that's one of those tasks that's repetitive, right? So bash scripting, you could actually just put all those commands in a file and it'll run it. So for example, here, let's do this, downloads, ls. So I already created the bash file, as you can see it up there, right? So to run it, you do this, bash file dot sh, right? So once I run it, it'll change, it'll run the Mac changer program and it'll change my MAC address. But let's do this real quick. I'll give you an example. Visual code. Let's get the editor up and running so we can see what I'm talking about. So as you can see here, right? So this is the bash file. And as you see up here, this is the very important part. So here, let's look over here. Let's see if we can just skip to the part where it says that. What's that statement? As you can see here, right? You see the statement on every bash script up there. You see it here as well. And then again, right? Just commands. These commands you can do on the command line, right? You can run all these here. But instead you put it on a file and then it'll run it one by one like that, right? So it'll go bang, 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 right? So it's good to automate stuff. And you can actually consider it a language. And it actually runs like a language, honestly, like a programming language. It's structured the same way. It has its loops, it has, the comparison operators, et cetera, et cetera. So actually the one big important thing you should know as well is that you got to change the permissions, and I actually did a video on that as well. And in fact, I have 6 videos that'll teach you how to do the file manipulation, the networking side, again, file permission, etc., etc. Go check those out. I'll put those in the link. So before you run the file, make sure you change the permission, because if you just try to run it by itself, as you can see here, it'll say an error will pop up and it won't run. So let's keep going down. Let's see where it explains it. Let's see, variables, input. I might have passed it. Let me see. Let me see. Where is it? All right, here we go. Here we go. I found it. So bash script starts with a shebang. So that's what the beginning of this is, right? So shebang is a combination of bash, hashtag, bang, and exclamation point, followed by the bash shell path. This is the first line of the script. Shebang tells the shell to execute it via bash shell. Shebang is simply an absolute path to the bash interpreter. So obviously, as you see here, before you can run the bash, before you can put any commands down here, you gotta have this up here, right? So as you can see here, I got my ifconfig ETH down, which will bring down the internet driver, and then a MAC changer, which will change the MAC address of it. And then the ifconfig etho up will bring the internet driver back up, which connected back to the internet. And then here is the echo. So it'll let you know MAC address has successfully been changed. So this will pop up, right? So for the purposes of this video, I'm actually gonna mess up my internet and do it just to show you guys. So let's do this. Hold on. And again, before you run this file, remember to change the permissions using chmod like this. As you can see, I already did it, but I'll do it again and then run the actual file. Dang, you see right here. So my current MAC address was this one, right? So the permanent one is obviously this one, but now it changed to this one. So now my MAC address is this one. And this is one way I like to stay anonymous when it comes to like surfing the internet. And here, as you can see, the echo MAC address has successfully been changed, right? So over here, let's see what we learned real quick. So executing the bash script, already explained that one. Bash script basics comment in bash scripting. Comments start with the bash. This is the editing line that begins this comment will be ignored. So it's pretty much like Python, right? So like I explained to you, let's do it down here, I guess. Okay. So this line will be ignored. Let's make it a little bigger. There we go. So this line will be ignored. So let's do another command. This is a dummy comment. All right, so we get that, right? So the numerical thing makes it into comments, so variables and data types in bash, all right? So again, just like a programming language, right? So country, assign this value directly. So these are the variables, right? So we can do this. I'm assuming Pakistan is the string type. So we'll copy that as well. Country. I don't live in Pakistan, so I'm gonna put USA. And then assign the value based on the output obtained from a program or command using the command substitution. Know that the number sign is required to access an existing variable's value. So down there it's same country. We'll do this greatest nation, and then we'll do this one, and then we're gonna put country. So I mean, it probably would have been easier to just put USA, but this is grabbing the variable country, right? So obviously you need the number sign, and we're assigning that to this one now. So let's keep going down here. Variable naming conventions. Variable names should start with a letter or underscore. Variable names can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. Variable names are case sensitive. Variable names should not contain space or special characters. Use descriptive names that reflect the purpose of the variable. Avoid using reserved words such as if, then, else, phi, and so on, so on. So again, it's like a programming language. So it pretty much follows those rules as well. So, and here are some examples of invalid variable names. Or I'm not surprised by this one. You never can have a space in between variables. And this one as well. You can't have a hyphen. Follow the naming conventions to help Bash scripts more readable and easier to maintain. So that's good. Let me see. Input, output in Bash scripts, gathering input. So usually input is what as a user, you put in using your keyboard. So I'm assuming this is what how we do it, right? So now we're gonna read echo. What is your name? Space it out a little bit. Enter read. So read would be the input variable. So name entered, and then we go down to the bottom, echo, echo. Let's not forget the E flag. So this here, you see the backslash with the N on it? That's a that's like an encoded way to put space, which is weird to me, you know what I mean? Like there's always these fancy little like ASCII characters that the computer wants you to do or put in to do certain things. So let's do this. What the heck was that? Let me see. And it says welcome to my bash tutorial. Some quotes. And then again, we need a dollar sign. And then name entered, right? So now I'm gonna run it again. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna run all this again, and I'm gonna change my MAC address once again. So let's see. So I'm gonna try as you already know. Yeah. Again, it's a VM machine, so I don't care if you guys see the simple password that you might guess it is. So let's run this bad boy. So let's run it again. So now again, it changed the MAC address again from our previous one, which was this one. So it did change the MAC address. You can see, right? Current MAC, the one up here, and then the permanent one, the one that's built in or soldered in or whatever you want to call it, is this one. And then the new MAC address right here. So that's our new MAC address. So that's another identity, I guess, that we're going to be using. So what is her name? Beginner Security. Welcome to my bash tutorial, Beginner Security. So as you can see, we did that, right? So that's how you read input using the read down here, as you can see. And then here, we read the variable that we have here. Obviously, we need a dollar sign in front of it before we do it. And then echo reads the message that we want encoded. I mean, it's usually spaced out, etc., etc. Let's see. And then down here, we're gonna go to the command line arguments, which I mean, it depends really which ones you put in, right? So hold on. In bash script or function, you see a dollar, then one denotes the initial argument passed by. Two denotes the second argument passed on, and so forth. This script takes a name as a command line argument and prints a personalized greeting. Hmm, that's interesting. So we have supplied Ziara as our argument to the script. So hello, let's see. Oh, and then reading from the file. Okay, okay, that's interesting stuff. You know what? I skipped it. Sorry about that. I was actually watching something outside of I was watching something over here. I have my cell phone with me. But as you can see here, so this is where the while statements come in, right? So while read, line, do echo, line, done, and then I guess it saves the thing into a file. In Bash, this code reads one line from a file and named output.txt and prints it to the terminal. We'll study the while loops later in this article. So command line arguments in a bash script or function denotes the initial argument. Number two denotes the second, or so forth. This script takes a name as a command line and prints a personalized greeting. Let's see that in action. So echo hello my friend, and then the dollar sign. I mean, I guess it does something. So I'm gonna have to figure that out right now. Again, I'm not gonna lie. Scripting is not something I do very much often. So I have to remind myself again by going to these tutorials, because a lot of this stuff you tend to forget. If you don't use it daily, you can forget it relatively easy. So let's do this again. So again, we'll just put Frank this time. Hello, welcome to my bash tutorial, Frank. Hello, my name is. It didn't save anything. So there wasn't. I didn't. I guess there's not a variable to one or the notes. That's so weird. Pending file. So this prints to the text hello world to the terminal, writing a file echo. This is some text. So yeah, I've done this before. So this will be saved into this file, appending a file. This writes the text to a file. Note the operator overwrites a file that has already context, appending the file. The appends text more to the end of the output file. All right, so I guess this text here will be saved at the end of the file, right? So if you know in a file there's a head part, there's a middle part, and then there's a tail part. So the tail part's usually the end part. So let's say you're looking at a file that has 700 lines of code. So let's just say the 600, 700 mark is the tail side of the file. And then obviously the 500, 400, 300 is the middle. And then the 100 and 200 side is the head the head of that file, right? So that's what this is doing, appending to a file. This appends the text, more text to the end of the file, redirecting output. So let's see, ls. So I'm assuming it's the ls command is list directories or the contents of the files. So I'm not surprised why it's named files. This is the files in the current directory and writes the output to a file named files.txt. You can redirect output of any command to a file this way. Bash, basic bash commands, echo, read, etc. Right? So here's a list of some of the most common used bash commands. Again, I already did a video of this sort of stuff, but I'll let you look at it again. So again, you can grab all of these and put them into a file like this one, and it'll run it, right? It'll automate stuff instead of having to individually put each one of these in the command line. You could just run it again. So, I mean, you guys are getting my drift, right? So that's pretty much what bash scripting is. It's a way to help you automate stuff. It's a way for you to not have to put the same commands. And some people do long commands, especially if you do system administration stuff, right? Some commands will require you to, to use and communicate with an SSH computer somewhere, or maybe hundreds of them, right? And you can just automate the instructions and the commands that you give to those SSH based computers. Again, Secure Shell is a program that allows a user to communicate and control a computer from a remote location. And scripting really does help out with the tasks of like managing hundreds of computers, you know what I mean? So that's why bash is very important. So before I close this video, I'm gonna show you the the loop side of things are here. just like a programming language. If condition, then statement, L if, which I'm assuming is else if condition, then statement, else do this by default, right? So it's like a programming language. It has loops in it, so something has to be met, or if it's met, it'll just stop executing. If not, then it'll go down here. If it's met here, then it'll stop execution, and not it'll go here, 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 et cetera, right? So as you can see here, we use logical operators such as and, or to make comparisons that have more significance. You see, looping and branching and bash. So I is assigned one while I1, I'm assuming LE means less than 10, do, echo, and I'm assuming it's gonna either, this is like a countdown or actually a count up. So again, a while loop, the for loop, very popular in programming languages. For I, and then it'll start counting up, it'll just start counting up. Let me see images, case statements. Ooh, I remember these in Java. Case, expression, pattern, code, how to schedule scripts using cron. That's interesting. So if you want to run a script at a certain time, you get to use the cron commands. You can see here, run a script at midnight every day, running script every 5 minutes. Again, this is very useful for production servers, especially if they're running every day. I mean, my computer, I don't run it every day. I just turn it off when I don't use it. Use cron tab. The cron tab utility used to add edit the cron jobs. Cron is listed already scheduled scripts for a particular user. You can add edit cron through cron tab and the E flag. How to debug and troubleshoot bash scripts. So set the set X option. One of the most useful techniques for debugging bash scripts is to set the set X an option at the beginning of the script. This option enables debugging mode, which causes bash to print. Each command that is executes terminally proceeds by a plus sign. This can be created for help. All right, let's do that real quick. Let's see. So I guess it has to go in the beginning of it. So set, and then the X flag. Expand this bad boy real quick. Save it. Let's run it on our command line. Let's clear this bad boy up. What is his name? Franco. I mean, didn't do anything. I'm assuming if maybe there was an error, it would show it. But everything that I put on the file ran successfully, and it was put incorrectly. I used the correct syntax, so I'm assuming there is no issue there. And then the check the exit code, right? So this will let you know if an error occurred. So you use a set E. If you want your script to exit immediately when any command in the script fails, you can use the set E option. This option will cause bash to exit with an error. If any command if any command in the script fails, make it easier to identify and fix errors. That's interesting. So I'm assuming this one, but I mean everything on my file runs fine, so that's not necessary. Troubleshooting crons by varying logs, etc., etc. All right, guys. So again, you're gonna this the bash scripting is gonna require a lot of individual, like, you having to deep dig deep into learning the bash scripting side of things, because it's its own language. It's actually vast, and it's a programming language, really, and it's one that's useful, and it's one that if you ever become a system administrator, it's one thing you're definitely gonna have to know, and that's one thing you're definitely gonna be asked. hey, can you write bash scripts? You know, and you know, even my little simple tutorial is at least giving you an idea of what it is and how you can get your, you know, your hands, you know, dirty using it. And once you understand it, it's up to you how far you can take it, right? Again, it's like a programming language. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to you and how you want to use it and how you want to learn it, et cetera, right? So for me, I went here. So Bash script tutorial, Linux script, so free code camp academy, and there's actually hundreds of sources on Google if you actually try to learn that yourself. So anyway, so all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And remember, I have 6 previous videos that show you how to use a command line. And this is my 7th one, right? And I'm gonna keep, and I believe I have about 4 more coming. I actually have to know the genres that are left, right? Because I feel like I've dove deep into each one of them already. Well, not too deep, but you know, just deep enough, I guess, where you learn it, right? All right, guys, we'll take it easy, all right, till the next one.